Across centuries and continents, the Ottoman Empire was not only a military and political powerhouse, but also a cultural force that left an indelible mark on Europe. While armies and fortresses extended its borders, it was the subtler influences, food, clothing, art, and everyday life, that shaped European societies in ways still visible today. The empire's ability to blend tradition, innovation, and cosmopolitanism created a rich cultural tapestry whose threads stretched far beyond its own lands. Food, perhaps the most immediate and beloved of cultural exchanges, became a medium through which Ottoman influence traveled. From the bustling streets of Istanbul to the far corners of Vienna and Paris, ingredients, recipes, and culinary techniques found new homes. Europeans were introduced to coffee, which quickly became more than a beverage. It became a social ritual. Coffee houses spread across European cities, providing spaces for debate, literature, and commerce. The Ottoman method of brewing and serving coffee, paired with sweet confections like lokum, captivated European taste buds and shaped emerging urban cultures. Spices, too, carried the empire's imprint. The Ottoman control of trade routes connecting Europe, Asia, and Africa allowed a diverse array of flavors to enter European kitchens. Paprika, cinnamon, cloves, and saffron found their way into European stews, pastries, and sauces, altering local cuisine forever. Scholars today note that the Ottoman influence helped spark a period of culinary creativity in Europe, paving the way for the fusion of flavors that characterizes modern European gastronomy. But cultural exchange went far beyond food. Clothing, textiles, and fashion reflected Ottoman artistry and sophistication. Silks, cottons, and intricate embroidery flowed from Ottoman markets into European courts and merchant cities. The luxurious fabrics, combined with elaborate patterns, influenced European tailors, inspiring new styles for aristocrats and wealthy citizens alike. Ottoman caftans, turbans, and sashes were admired and sometimes imitated, becoming symbols of status and cosmopolitan taste. In cities like Venice and Vienna, garments inspired by Ottoman design appeared in paintings, literature, and festivals, creating a lasting visual imprint on European culture. Art and decorative design were equally impacted. Ottoman tiles, ceramics, and calligraphy inspired European artisans who sought to replicate the precision and beauty of these works. Motifs from mosques, palaces, and public buildings in Istanbul were adapted into European architecture, furniture, and decorative arts. European painters and engravers traveled to Ottoman lands or studied imported goods, integrating exotic patterns and color schemes into their own creations. This blending of visual cultures enriched European artistic expression and encouraged a spirit of experimentation. Music and performance also crossed borders. Ottoman instruments, rhythms, and melodies found their way into European compositions. The zurna, ney, and oud influenced Western orchestral works, while the ceremonial and folk music of the empire inspired composers who sought new forms of harmony and exotic sound. Courtly dances and theatrical performances sometimes incorporated Ottoman themes, reflecting fascination and admiration for the empire's aesthetic sensibilities. Religion and philosophy, though distinct, were also part of cultural influence. While the Ottomans maintained Islamic traditions, they encouraged coexistence with various ethnic and religious groups within their empire. European travelers, diplomats, and merchants observed these practices, noting the empire's complex social fabric. The Ottoman legal and administrative systems, designed to accommodate diversity while maintaining stability, became case studies for European thinkers seeking to understand governance, tolerance, and social cohesion. Urban planning and architecture further demonstrate the cultural exchange. Ottoman cities were designed with attention to public spaces, markets, and community life. Covered bazaars, public baths, fountains, and gardens reflected not only functionality but also aesthetic and social values. Europeans visiting Ottoman cities brought these ideas back home, inspiring urban design in their own capitals. The concept of combining commercial, religious, and social functions in a harmonious public space influenced European architects and planners for generations. Education and literature traveled along these cultural routes as well. Manuscripts, historical chronicles, and literary works from the Ottoman world were translated into European languages. European scholars were fascinated by the empire's libraries, poetry, and historical records. This intellectual exchange contributed to a broader understanding of geography, history, and cultural diversity, enriching European academic and literary traditions. Maps, scientific works, and philosophical texts circulated widely, shaping European knowledge of the wider world. Trade was another powerful vector of influence. Ottoman goods, textiles, ceramics, spices, metalwork, and jewelry were prized in European markets. Merchants, eager to cater to growing demand, established trade networks that facilitated not only commerce but also cultural transmission. The movement of goods carried ideas, fashion trends, and artistic styles across borders. Cities such as Venice, Dubrovnik, and Amsterdam became hubs where European and Ottoman goods and by extension culture intertwined. The commercial interaction created an enduring appreciation for Ottoman craftsmanship, design, and taste. Religion and social rituals also left subtle imprints on European life. Ottoman festivals, hospitality practices, and public ceremonies fascinated travelers and diplomats who sometimes incorporated elements into European courtly events. Banquets, music, dance, and theatrical pageantry borrowed inspiration from Ottoman style, creating hybrid cultural experiences that blended the familiar with the exotic. European curiosity about Ottoman etiquette and etiquette manuals reflected the empire's influence on manners and ceremonial life. Fashion and cuisine together shaped the daily lives of Europeans in ways that extended beyond aristocratic circles. Ottoman sweets, coffee, and pastries became common indulgences in European households. Similarly, Ottoman-inspired textiles, robes, and ornamental accessories gradually filtered into the wardrobes of merchants, scholars, and urban elites. Over time, the influence was not only superficial, it became integrated into European identity, reshaping tastes and social behaviors. The empire's influence endured even in diplomacy and political thought. Ottoman court protocols, ceremonial displays, and methods of negotiation were observed and studied by European statesmen. Diplomatic interactions often included cultural exchange as much as negotiation. Ambassadors and envoys learned to navigate Ottoman formalities, creating mutual respect and admiration. These experiences contributed to European understandings of protocol, ceremony, and statecraft, influencing how nations conducted international relations. Education, medicine, and science, though less visible, were equally impacted. European scholars studying Ottoman texts gained insights into mathematics, astronomy, medicine, and engineering. Ottoman hospitals, public hygiene practices, and approaches to urban sanitation informed European developments. Knowledge transfer often accompanied trade and travel, leaving long-term effects on the intellectual and practical life of Europe. Even today, traces of Ottoman influence are visible across European cities. Coffee houses in Vienna, Istanbul-inspired architecture in Budapest, spices in Mediterranean cuisine, and textile patterns in fashion all reflect centuries of interaction. Museums preserve Ottoman artifacts, exhibitions display manuscripts and art, and festivals celebrate cross-cultural heritage. Modern culinary traditions, public spaces, and artistic sensibilities all carry echoes of Ottoman creativity and taste. In retrospect, the Ottoman Empire's influence on Europe was multifaceted and profound. It extended from daily life to intellectual discourse, from trade to artistic innovation. Its food, clothing, and culture were not merely adopted superficially. They shaped the way Europeans thought, lived, and interacted with the world. The empire's reach was not limited by military conquest. It traveled through the senses, through shared ideas, and through human curiosity. Today, historians and cultural scholars continue to study these exchanges, emphasizing the deep connections forged between East and West. They highlight how Ottoman culinary traditions inspired European kitchens, how textiles and clothing reshaped European fashion, and how art and urban design created aesthetic dialogues that bridged continents. These influences remind us that history is not only about wars and empires, but about the daily lives, tastes, and imaginations of people across generations. In conclusion, the Ottoman Empire's cultural impact on Europe was enduring, pervasive, and transformative. Through food, clothing, music, art, and social practices, The empire left a legacy that reshaped European society. Its influence reminds the world that culture travels as easily as armies, that ideas and taste leave marks as deep as stone walls, and that civilizations endure not only in power but in the lives and customs they touch. Centuries later, Europe still bears the imprint of the Ottoman world, a testament to the empire's lasting and profound cultural significance.